This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
I'm Dr. Sky, and welcome once again to the Dr. Sky Experience Monthly Sky Update. Things that you can actually see no matter where you're living. And ladies and gentlemen, this broadcast and this particular update is good for folks primarily in the Northern Hemisphere. But once again, it's a privilege and honor to be here with you on Talk Radio 77 WABC. And as we like to say, we're proudly heard in 173 countries, all 50 states, beaming out from New York's powerhouse 77 WABC to the nation, the world, and I'm sure even out to the cosmos. Don't forget the Dr. Sky Experience is proud to be on this radio station, and you too can tune in live every Friday midnight to 2 a.m. Saturday mornings Eastern Daylight Time, and then Saturday midnight into 2 a.m. Sunday Eastern Daylight Time, as we talk, as many of you might know, and if you've never listened to the show, the content we provide is from the realms of astronomy, space, aviation, and weather, with celebrity guests in the mix and stories of American exceptionalism. And this report, folks, is good from about the mid-portion of October to right around Halloween, the end of October 2025. Let's begin with Earth's nearest neighbor, the Moon. And this obviously is a great object that everybody can see, even if you're a city dweller. And a lot of people say to me, Dr. Sky, how can I see any of these things that you talk about? Because so many of them require dark skies. Well, majority do. But here, on this particular Dr. Sky Experience Sky Update, a little bit of something for everybody. So let's begin with the Moon. As you may have known, the Moon reached its harvest full moon phase, the full harvest moon, back on the 6th and 7th of this month. Reason for the harvest moon is that it's usually in the sky at or just before sunset, giving in the days way far in the past, farmers would, harvest crops by the light of that moon. But the simple astronomy answer is it's the full moon closest to the autumnal equinox or the beginning of fall. And that happened. Fall began on the 22nd of September. So just do the math. And that's why the harvest moon occurred in October. We find out the moon reached its last quarter phase, folks, as it continues to move through our sky from, of course, the right side of the sky to the left, moving to the east. Last quarter was on the 13th. If you missed that, not something totally significant, but better, darker skies are coming as the moon continues to wane. The moon continues to move on to its new phase on the 21st, and then the moon continues, if you look very, very low into the southwest, the west-southwest to be exact, by about, the evenings of maybe the 22nd, you'll get to see that tiny sliver of moonlight, a new waxing moon, the start of lunation 1272. And what that means is lunations were calculated or counted right around 1923. Nobody really knows the real reason for that other than the fact that they've continued to count lunations. That is, when the moon goes around the Earth every some 28 to 29 days as the calendar permits. But for planets, let's begin. We have some interesting things to share with you in our October update, the mid-October 2025 update. Ladies and gentlemen, in the evening sky, if you continue to look right into the southeast, you can't miss Saturn. And Saturn was dubbed as the original ring planet because Galileo looked at it. He didn't discover the rings, But later in time, maybe 20 years later, Cassini and Huygens and other astronomers actually used telescopes to observe and realize that it was a ring system. And what Galileo thought he was seeing was maybe two planetary objects or satellites stuck right around, the equatorial region of Saturn. But we know better, it's a ring system. But unfortunately, unless you have a fairly decent telescope, the ring system right now is nearly edge-on, meaning it has a slight inclination. In years to come, we'll start to see the southern hemisphere of Saturn as the ring opens up. But just know it's an evening object to be seen with the naked eye. Now, about 800 million miles away? We're rounding things off here. And if you take the speed of light, which is 670 million miles an hour, it still takes about 75 to 78 minutes just for that light to get from here, the Earth, to the particular planet, the planet Saturn. Other things are going to happen, and let's continue to count down. We find out, ladies and gentlemen, that the planet Mercury, one of the most amazing objects, elusive because you can hardly see it, will be in the southwestern part of the sky in the evening on the 19th, very close to the planet Mars, which still lurks into the sky. And then we find out as we continue to move on, the Moon, Mercury, and Mars are all within 4 degrees on the evening of the 23rd. Remember that waxing moon. The moon reaches its farthest position from us on the 24th. We call that apogee. And then we have some other interesting objects to look at. As we go back to Mercury, of course, it reaches its greatest elongation in the western sky. That about the 29th. You can see it not very far away from the sun because Venus and Mercury never really get too far away from the setting or rising sun because they're called inferior planets, simply that they're closer in than we are to the sun. But the real show is in the morning sky, and this is interesting. As you look into the eastern part of the sky, and maybe more precisely into the northeastern part of the sky, you'll start to see the beautiful planet Jupiter. So if you're up there looking into the northeast sky, let's say around 1 a.m., you're going to see this big blazing ball of white light. That's Jupiter. And it's going to continue to get better as we move closer to it, and it moves closer to us as we wrap up the year. The planet Jupiter will come to opposition at its best in early January of 2026, but still time, as I mentioned many times on the Dr. Sky Update Sky Reports. If you take a pair of binoculars, hold them steady, pretty powerful pair of binoculars, let's say even 10 by 50s, might be able to show you the moons, the 4 basic Galilean moons of Jupiter. But telescopes will reveal, higher power telescopes, the beauty of this beautiful planet, the planet Jupiter. And then we find out Venus hugs the horizon into the early morning sky. Don't miss it. It's a beautiful sight. So you have 2 major planets in your early morning sky. You have Jupiter and you have Venus hugging the horizon. But let's talk about something really important right now. Probably, in my opinion and others, the best event for all of October, take away the harvest moon, take away looking at planets, is probably this amazing meteor shower called the Orionids. Now, here's what this is all about. Meteor showers are debris that come from tails of comets. So if you're out in space and you cross the path, the tail of a comet, you might get pulverized by tiny little particles, maybe the size of beach sand, all the way up to pebbles, and maybe even larger. So we have the annual Orionid meteor shower. What's that? If you look into the east, starting from midnight to sunrise, on the evening of October the 20th into the morning of the 21st, all hell could break loose, at least meteor-wise. But meteor showers are fickle, but the important part of the Orionids is that they come from the upper left area of the constellation of Orion, the star Betelgeuse, which is like the armpit. If you look at the old drawings of who Orion is in the heavens, beautiful artwork, you'll find out that that's the origin point or radian of these particular Orionid meteors. Now, some of these are traveling very fast. These meteors go about 67 kilometers per second. Put that in terms of miles per hour. You should, under dark conditions, because remember, there's a new moon then, no moon in the sky, you may get to see some, but you got to be patient. And if you're in a colder location, dress warm, do whatever it takes to stay awake, and I guarantee you'll see something. But here's the important part. All the debris from Orionids, the meteor showers, from Halley's Comet. So if you've never ever seen Halley's Comet, if you missed it in 1986, and you're not ready to prepare to watch it in 2061 in July, Well, now's your chance to see the Orionid meteor shower. Now, the source of these meteor showers are comets. So we have a number of comets that are technically in our skies right now, and I'm going to give you a website to go to follow, if you're a more advanced observer, how to find these particular comets. So let's start off with the one that begins our conversation. It's called Comet C 2025 R2, Comet Swan. Now, it's nothing to do with a bird, but that's the name of a telescope or group that helped discover it. This comet, Comet Swan, will be closest to the Earth by about the 20th. Now, it's not very close to the Earth. We're millions of miles away. But go to theskylive.com, theskylive.com. Ladies and gentlemen, for our advanced observers, it will show you that this comet is in the southwestern sky just after sunset. But the real showstopper, here we go. This is a good one. Comet C 2025 A6, called Comet Lemon, actually discovered here in Arizona. It makes its closest approach to Earth on the 21st, but again, no cigar. It's not going to hit us, thank goodness, but it'll pass us by millions of miles. But here's the point. You can actually start seeing Comet Lemon if you look into the early morning skies, and on your star chart, I'm talking about, say, 3:30 to 4 in the morning before sunrise, the large group of stars that we call the constellation Ish, the Big Dipper or Ursa Major, the comet will lie directly below the tail star of the Big Dipper. Now, this is a few degrees we're talking, so you have to get a pair of binoculars. So it then continues to move across the sky and moves into the evening sky by, let's say, around the 25th or so, when you might be able to spy it just a few degrees to the upper left of that bright star that's in the northwestern part of the sky called Arcturus. A beautiful star, big orange supergiant. So again, go to theskylive.com to learn more about that and how you can observe it. Binoculars can help. Dark skies are the best. Comets are very fickle. And comet discoverer David Levy said comets and cats are very similar. And his quote goes like this: comets and cats are very similar. How? They both have tails and they do exactly what they want. David Leary, he was a big discoverer of comets. He came up with something cute. But if you get to see it, consider yourself very fortunate. Dark skies help. Binoculars are probably best. Small telescopes, if you go to theskylive.com, will help you. But now a final update. We've all been reading accurate and inaccurate information on the web about interstellar comet 3I Atlas. Now, it reaches perihelion, or the closest point to the sun, by the 29th. Know the comet by many astronomers, and we talk to them all the time. And we have respect for Dr. Avi Loeb of Harvard, who says one theory is that it's some sort of a Bracewell probe from another solar system. Well, indeed, the comet comes from another star system, but it'll have no effect on the Earth, and hopefully we'll find out more as telescopes continue to spy on the object known as Comet 3I Atlas. I've observed comets for at least 40 years, and I can tell you that this is an interesting object. It's the third interstellar object called a comet ever discovered. The first was Oumuamua by our good friend Dr. Robert Wyrick, who was out in Hawaii, who discovered this strange pancake-shaped object, we think. It was the first candidate to be an interstellar comet. Then came a Ukrainian observer with Comet Borisov, and now Comet 3I Atlas. If you have any questions that you'd like answered, my email is simply this: DRSKY, of course, Dr. Sky at WABCRadio.com. And we hope you'll listen to us on the Dr. Sky Experience, as we mentioned over the weekends, a 2-hour show jam-packed live with great guests from the realms of astronomy, space, aviation, and weather, and more. And you, ladies and gentlemen, can give us a call live on the air at 1-800-848-9222. That's 1-800-848-9222. Happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep it safe, and let's get out there and observe the wonders of the nighttime sky, as I'm your navigator of the highway to the heavens, where there are no tolls yet, and a great opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to see things that you probably never thought you could, even if you're a city dweller. And don't forget, if you're interested in seeing Earth satellites, like the space station, the Chinese space station, the Hubble Space Telescope, and more, go to heavens-above.com. Clear skies and health. I'm Dr. Sky, wishing you the best. We'll talk to you soon.